Welcome to the Slade Ham Experiment. Hi, hello, how are you? Slade Ham in a deep red midnight spaceship tonight. It's a blustery, windy, kind of rainy evening in the galaxy through which I traverse, and I'm drinking some hot tea, trying to make the best of it. It's a hibiscus, some sort of blend from HEB. I apologize to states that don't have the wonder of HEB. I want to talk on this episode about Kickstarter campaigns and successful ones. If you're not an artist, you're not currently making anything, you're not currently considering this may not be the episode for you. I'm likely to get bogged down in the weeds. I'll still probably say something entertaining. We shall see. I just launched my Kickstarter campaign. Now, for transparency, we hit somewhere around the time of this taping, 70%-ish. And exactly 70%. We cleared 50%, over 50% the first day. So that's where the campaign is. I'm asking for $13,500. Those are the nuts and bolts. And now I'll go in and explain a little bit about the steps along the way, what's been successful, what hasn't been successful, the stuff that's just kind of made me laugh, and the stuff that surprised me. The upside to being on I will say this before we get started. The upside to being back on social media, at least for the sake of promoting and running this campaign, is that I get to be privy to all the stuff that everybody's watching and paying attention to. And the coronation just went down in England, and Katy Perry sang Firework, and I've been laughing since probably 3 o'clock this afternoon. Because I know there's a line that says, just own the night like the 4th of July. And if she sang that line in England, then how do you not find that funny? The other thing, I'm not wearing my signature black. I'm in a T-shirt from the Air Base 201's women's organization. It's run by some fine sergeants out in Agadez. I raise my glass to you. Also, it's laundry day. So, here we are. Let's talk about how to do a successful Kickstarter campaign. This is my third one. It's pretty much guaranteed to be successful. I will not only make the money I've asked for, but I'll probably, hopefully, make some overage to cover what I was going to have to save up for all summer and put in myself. So it's feeling good. In previous campaigns, I think I raised $9,000 or $10,000 for the Whiskey Brothers. We'll look at that in a second. And almost $30,000 for Andy Huggins' comedy special. So it's safe to say I might know kind of what I'm doing, at least when it comes to fundraising for a comedy special. So the first question is why you would consider doing this. So the traditional routes for a comedy special, and that's all I can speak of right now. But this could be a TV show. This could be book publishing. This could be album, record labels. This could be a lot of things. The traditional method, you go out, you get good at something. You put yourself in front of industry leaders. You put yourself in front of people who can do things for your career, management and bookers and agents and producers and all of these people who can make great things for you. When you're said and done, you get your cut of the stuff. I've spoken about, I think in the past, some record label contracts, especially for comics. Some of these comics are paying to have their work distributed. There's very little financial return. All these companies take their rake. That's how the business is done. That's the industry. The artist rarely has enough money to make their own product. Ergo, they find someone who does. That someone who does has all the power, so they get to make the demands. They end up with all the upside. The artist ends up with, yay, hey, I made this thing, I don't own it anymore. So if you are an artist, if you're an author looking to get your book published, if you're a musician who doesn't want to be a cover musician at bars anymore, if you're a fine artist who doesn't want to paint faces at kids' birthday parties anymore, if you'd like to make your money doing what you love, then this is a possible route. I have a friend who's producing a TV show right now. They've done a spec episode. They've put together a sizzle reel. The question is whether or not they pursue traditional funding and go to some production company who can ultimately, you get an agent who pairs you with a production company, and then that company has a track record with these networks, and the networks are comfortable with them making the show, and somebody else gets a showrunner credit, and you end up bumped down to associate producer on a show you created all of your own accord. So you can go that route, but you can also go the route of reaching out to fans, as Kevin Kelly would say, 1,000 true fans. A wonderful article, if you haven't read it, good essay. He makes the case that if you just have 1,000 true fans, 1,000 people willing to give you around $100 a year for your services or your art or what you create, then you essentially don't need anything else. There's nothing you can't do on $100,000 a year, at least survival-wise, right? You're not going to die. You're not going to get starved out. You're likely going to be able to make more of what you love to make. Maybe not to the scale you want to, but it's enough to cover your nut, most likely. But if you look at that and you go, okay, how do I apply this to something on a smaller level? I don't have 1,000 fans. I don't have 1,000 people that can help me out. You got to start somewhere. So you figure out the lowest possible amount you can ask for. You figure out the smallest viable audience. You figure out the thing you can make for that amount of money. If it's a comedy special you want to make, and you want to make a top-tier special where you bring in all the cameras and the jib and the dollies and all the good stuff, and you do it in a theater, well, you can't start there. You got to convince people that that's something you can do. Not just come up with the material, not just craft the show. You have to convince them you can film it. You have to convince them you can edit it. You have to convince them you can distribute it. So how do you do that from the beginning? I'm just an open micer. I don't know what to do. Cool. Go out and raise $500. $500. Do a Kickstarter for it. I think they'll allow you to do something that low. Make it official. I'm going to come back to a lot of tips about what you need to know for the Kickstarter campaign itself in a bit. But the nuts and bolts of it, that you need $500. And with that $500, you're going to hire a local guy with a camera. You're going to have to teach yourself some things because that local guy is probably not going to know a whole lot about what to do with what he shot once he shot it. He may not even know how to shoot it. He may just be a guy in possession of a camera. And you, as a comic, should pick up some skills in this first phase. There's a couple of things you probably should be aware of. You should learn, for the Kickstarter campaign itself, you should learn basic composition and graphic design. It doesn't mean you have to go out and get a degree, but it means you should learn something simple like the rule of thirds. It means you should learn some basic things about typefaces and fonts. You should learn how to put together imagery that makes people want to be part of something and not just this chaotic font-covered salad that most people put out when they put out flyers. You're looking for something easy and simple for the eye to follow. And there are billions of tutorials online that'll walk you through this part of it. You don't, like I say, you don't need a master's degree in this. You need basic understanding. How do I pick a couple of fonts and a picture that they go with and put this together in a way that says what I want to say without being complicated, without adding anything else? An easy photography class. These are anyway, I'll get sidetracked on this. You should also learn to proofread. That's a big one. No typos. You should have some basic writing skills. If you don't, you should find a friend who does. Same with the graphic design. But you should be willing to pick these things up on your own. There's skills that are going to serve you way down the line. And now you take your $500 ask. You're not trying to shoot anything crazy. You're trying to shoot proof of concept. You're going to hire this guy with these 3 cameras. Did I say one earlier? I meant 3. You need 3. You're going to find them. It doesn't matter who has them. Doesn't matter if it's 3 different dudes. You got to drive across town to pick one up. You got to find this other guy, and you got to give him a bag of weed and a sandwich, and then this guy over here wants $200, but he'll show up and watch the other 2 cameras for you, make sure the batteries are charged. That's what you're trying to do. You're going to find a club that'll give you a night. You're going to bring those 3 cameras in. You're going to patch in some audio. Out of that $500, maybe you got to go rent a little Zoom recorder to plug into the board, pick up the audience. It's not going to be great. Then you're going to teach yourself to edit. You're going to put together this short 3-camera shoot of your show. It's going to require you learning a little bit of software, but when you're done, you're going to have accomplished a little bit of stuff here. We're going to go back to how you're going to get that $500 in a second. Because you're going to have proven to an audience that, one, most importantly, more than anything, you did what you said you were going to do. You've given them the product that they agreed with you on in the first place. If I give you my money, you said you're going to do this. Yes, and we both have to do that. You're also going to show them that you're funny. That's the hope, that if you've done all this dedicated work, you've also taken the time to craft the show, that you've hit mics, that you've worked it out, that you've actually got a set list. You're not just winging it. You're not just doing this to film a bunch of heckler gets own clips or crowd work. You're doing this for real reasons. And if you've done all of that, an audience is going to see, wow, this guy set out to do this thing. He created this thing, and I laughed at this thing. So when you go back a year later and you ask them for more money, and you're going to ask them for $10,000 or $20,000. You're going to have a built-in audience now of people who believe what you say. They believe you do what you're going to say. And that's vital. And when it comes to this second big one, right? Because you didn't do the $500 one to prove really to these people that that's what you could do. That's part of it. That's part of the collateral benefit. But the truth is you did it to learn all these things yourself. So when you move on to this next one, this something bigger, and this can be as iterative of a process as you want to. Raise the money for someone else. Do it. I learned on Andy Huggins. I learned on Jerry Wayne Longmire. I didn't do any of these first steps with my own project. Maybe you do it for someone else till you get good at it. But when you launch that Kickstarter campaign, the first thing that's important is you ask for something reasonable. You know what your audience is. You know who you can reach. You know what you can make. If you ask for $100,000 and you've never made a film before and you don't really have anybody attached who knows how to make a film, you're going to find yourself in a lot of trouble when it comes time to make a film. If you're trying to make an hour-long comedy special and you've never done an hour of stand-up, you're going to find it very difficult to do an hour-long comedy special. So ask for something reasonable in exchange for making something reasonable. Now you take all these little things you learned about graphic design, about editing film, about all the hard skills you picked up along the way, and you put them together in a video that showcases what you're about to make. Here's what I've done. Here's what I want to do. Shoot it professionally. Shoot it as professionally as the end product you're angling for. You want to? This is Jordan Brady, my dear friend and director. Checked me on this. I was using footage in my own campaign that wasn't strong enough to showcase what I was actually trying to make. It was subpar, and he was right. So once you've done all of that work, you've got to find a way to do 2 things now. Reward these people and promote this stupid special. Get it out into the world in a way that actually makes money and offer up something that makes people want to be part of it. The rewards for my campaign right now, I've only done a couple of tiers. I've heard that the most successful campaigns have upwards of 13 tiers. That seems complicated to me. I've chosen simple ones. And by simple, I don't just mean simple choices. I mean simple in that I've taken into account what it's going to take me to fulfill these rewards. So this time around, I'm only asking for, I'll include your name in a couple of things. You can get your name on the playbill, which will be their physical copies night of show. You can get a personal shout out, part of the list of shouts out I do once a month or every couple of weeks, thanking the contributors to the Kickstarter account. You can also get your name in the credits, which is a reward you can pick by itself. Also, for the same amount, you could get a hand-done thank you note by me. Or the one I really want people to sign up for, and I've priced this one at $100, but it includes everything in the prior ones. You get the thank you card, you get your name in the credits, you get your name on the playbill, and I've also chosen to throw in a copy of my book. So that's really, I'm open about it. That's where I want people to go. You can get lesser stuff for lesser money, but here's the kit and caboodle at $100. And then I've got associate producer credits and on up. You can get some of the big stuff. That includes reserved seats at the show and a meet and greet and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I've gone simple on those. And I've done it because I got to ship them. And I've learned a few things about shipping. When we did the Whiskey Brothers podcast, or the Whiskey Brothers comedy special, we shipped posters. We shipped signed show notes. We shipped signed empty whiskey bottles, and I think some other things, all of them vastly differently shaped objects. All of them some of them requiring boxes, some of them requiring bigger envelopes, some of them all had to be brought down to the post office and individually weighed and individually shipped, and it was a nightmare. It was a total nightmare to pull off. I don't even think there were that many contributors, really. It shouldn't have been as big of a nightmare as it was. But it waved me off. So when I did Andy's, I did two things. All of the digital rewards, all of the things that I mentioned before, putting you on the things I'm doing on my own, putting you in the credits, associate producers, and hand-signed thank you notes that I was able to put in envelopes and mail. The Whiskey Brothers, we also did T-shirts. Those are a nightmare. Not only are those a nightmare to ship because they're all different weights, they're all different sizes, which means you have to keep track of an extraordinary amount of information and make sure you don't mess it up and ship the wrong stuff to the wrong people. It's such a headache, and they take up a ton of space to drive down and ship anyway. You have to get a scale of your own, do all this at home. It's still going to be a nightmare. Trust me. Don't do T-shirts. Books are easy. And this is a little known fact. The post office, the United States Postal Service, has what's called media mail, and I can ship my books for about $2 a pop, under $3 for sure. It's the way the post office works. There is a media mail category, and if you're mailing specifically books, you get a significant discount. So I've opted to do that, and then if you got a thank you card, I'm just going to slip it in there like a bookmark and probably get by with $1 worth of savings. I'm sorry, U.S. government. I'm a thief. So you've put together your rewards. You've written coherent copy. You've got imagery in there that actually excites some people. Your copy should be minimal, by the way. If you go look at the Whiskey Brothers special, it's verbose. It says nothing, but there's tons of words. It was a mistake on my part. It was my first one. Andy's was more succinct. Mine, this time, is more succinct by half. So the less information, I think, really the better. You can tell what you need to in your story, your video version, expound upon the rest. But the rest of it should be told, I truly believe, through the social media posts you make to promote this. Because, sadly, damn it, that is the only way I think there is to do anything right now. It's a necessary evil. And when you launch, there's a couple of mistakes you can make. One of which is not pre-planning, just launching and not telling anyone. And we'll talk about that in a second. The other is not finishing your campaign in time to get it approved in time for the launch you said it would be ready for. I misfired on this one. The one with Andy, it's, again, same thing. I skated in at the last minute. Managed to clear by the day we said we were going to launch. I've been strategic about both. Most of them have fundraised in April, May. These are good fundraising months, May in particular. And like I mentioned, mine is lined up to end right around my birthday so I can make some last-minute plays. Now, when you publish something like this, you're going to have great expectations. Let go of them. Drop them on the floor and walk away. They no longer belong to you. You don't want expectations. You're going to be disappointed if you have expectations. You're also going to be very surprised if you don't have expectations. What you want to do is you want to reach out to everyone you know, everyone who might contribute, everyone who's ever followed you along the way. This is a perfect world. You send them a message a couple of days ahead of time, and you go, hey, if you have a mailing list, this is a great time to use it. Hey, I'm launching a Kickstarter campaign. This is what I'm making. I just wanted you to be aware. And if you had anybody in your realm of influence that might appreciate this, Monday would be the day I'd like for you to share this. Save it all up for Monday. If you want to contribute, if you want to pass it along to someone, please just do it on Monday. And on Monday, when you launch, you should have some groundswell already built up. A significant number of people. Hey, can you help me post this right at noon? That's your super inner circle. Then a little further out, those people that you've asked to contribute at a specific time. You've built up a little bit of a flash fire that on Monday when you launch, what you hope you will have done, not just in the first day, but in the first 2 to 3, because these numbers are important coming up. You're going to want about 30% of your total. That's your first couple of days. I'll come back to the rest of those percentages in a moment. I know I say I come back to stuff in a moment. I hope I come back and close all these circuits. I think I do. So the first day, this is why you say you're going to be disappointed. Your best friends, the people you love the most, some of them will repost it once, maybe share it twice. It'll be the standard Facebook. Hey, so-and-so's doing this. Give them some love. And then they will just go right back to the nonsense they were doing beforehand. Those people are going to disappoint you. But you're also going to be surprised, shocked, amazed by the people who participate that you weren't expecting to. Friends you'd forgotten. People that were just watching you the whole time and you didn't know. And they go, hey, I've been waiting for you to do something like this. And some of these people will be large contributors, associate producers, sometimes bigger. You want to cultivate these people. These are good people. That's where you're going to get the most momentum. People that hey, I'm helping out with this program. I've made some stickers. It was a wonderful girl who made stickers for Andy's campaign, and there was so much traction through that of it just being shared. She was immensely important. Another associate producer that helped out with the IMDb page. These are people I didn't know beforehand that were so valuable. So you'll be surprised both ways. Now, the promotion side of it, you got about 1 day to get everybody's attention. You're going to get a lot of love on that first, hey, I just launched this. But you're going to get a lot more love than you're going to get money. That's what you should know. Again, my launch probably took 300 likes or so. My guess is somewhere close to 100 shares and about 50 contributors when it was all said and done. So the ratio sucks. I'll show you again where you're up against a bit of the algorithm. You're up against the math of the internet because it will promote more contentious, argumentative posts than it will artistic posts. I only have this data to show you. So I made a post that just promoted the Kickstarter today. This is now day 5 or something. And it said, hey, I've got this Kickstarter. We reached a certain threshold. I'm excited. Lots of gratitude, lots of love, an invitation to participate. It got 4 likes and a share. And then I waited an hour and I posted this. And it made me giggle the whole time I was writing it. It says, Dear Facebook friend, I just wanted to welcome you to the bottom half of my friends list. My goal is a friends list of about 20 people. I've been unfriending everyone I can, and one day, too, it will be your turn. Perhaps it'll be on your birthday when I come for most. Maybe it will be a random post you make that does it. It's possible that one day I'll try to recall the 10 minutes we met in a bar in that one city, and unable to, will have found the catalyst for your departure. Were we both on the same terrible flight and convinced ourselves would make great lifelong friends? Or are we friends just because you needed to send me something via Messenger back in the day? You might have cut my hair once or married a friend a decade ago. However we met, unless you're one of those 20 or so, our digital relationship will eventually turn to dust. You'll be Thanos snapped into the ether with the click of a mouse. But not today, you lucky one. Not today. So that's what I post as of the time of this recording. Well over 100 comments, 350 likes. And then I posted a comment. I posted a comment that said this. I go, now that I've tricked the math equation at the door and lured you all here with an intentionally argumentative post, please go join my Kickstarter. That comment alone has taken, I think, more likes than my entire Kickstarter has taken contributors. That's the truth. 3 of the, I think at the time that I'm taping, 20 of the something people that have liked that comment alone, 3 of them have contributed to the Kickstarter. So there is an immense amount of people that have been exposed to what I'm working on. Over 350 of them today, another 100 that got that comment, another almost 40 that liked that comment, and then the original launch. So the exposure rate is high. And this is why you got to compartmentalize your expectations. In your first 3 days or so, and I can show you this on the Whiskey Brothers, I can show you this on Andy Huggins, and I'll be able to show it to you on mine. You're going to pull about 30% of what you make in the first 3 to 5 days. You're going to pull another 30% likely in your last 3 days or so. And then there's another 40% that's going to be spread out over the course of however long your campaign is. And I highly encourage you to keep it under 30 days. There's no reason to drag it out. The meat is at the beginning and the end with a little bit of stuffing in the middle. Certainly nothing you need to stretch out for 2 months or even 45 days. 30 is a nice, fat, sweet spot. But that's going to be your spread. And you want to get as much of it. Why I say front load it. You want to get as much of that as possible in that first day or two. It's how you're going to beat the algorithm. It's how the public perception is going to be. Oh my God, a lot of people want to be part of this. Nothing attracts a crowd like a crowd. So you want to sink everything you got into getting your attention in those first couple of days. I'm blessed. I'm up over the 70% mark. We're going to certainly sail this ship into harbor. Someone commented today that I was making a mistake by telling all these people I was going to unfriend them today. If that's what you heard, that's what you heard. This was another internet person. And that's what they said. And then I realized that by doing what I did today, I catalyzed the campaign for another $1,000, and all I lost was one person who left one sad comment. Well, I mean, if you're just gonna unfriend everybody, I'll save you the trouble, and I won't support anything you're ever doing ever. And then they took their Kickstarter money and they Squid Gamed themselves off my Facebook page. And I'm sorry you left, but I can't make you not be that sensitive. And I hope you don't take that the wrong way. But it's just the internet, and you were really technically still there at the time of the posting, you big crybaby. I do this once a week. If you have questions about a Kickstarter campaign, I can offer you what advice I have. Don't be afraid to ask. I like helping people make their stuff real. If you want to join mine, go to Kickstarter, search Slade Ham. The link is certainly down there in the show notes. The name of the special is Signal to Noise. It's going to be good. We're going to shoot it late summer. I'll be in Kentucky this week. Hey, come join me in Louisville at the Comedy Caravan. It's one of my favorite clubs to work stuff out. I'm working on the new show, so you're going to get to see a lot of it. I know a lot of friends and fans and people. It's a good meeting place there in Kentucky, so I'm looking forward to some new faces and some old ones. And I'm looking forward to wrapping up this campaign. It goes all the way through May. It wraps after my birthday at the end of the month. So if you're saving yourself to give me something good for my birthday, that's fine. You don't have to get it in early. But the upside to wrapping this campaign early, at least crossing over the threshold that I'm asking for, is that I, of course, can sleep much easier. It's going to be fine. Not worried about it. But it would help me. You know what I mean? You don't have to worry about it. But if you wanted to, I'd be appreciative. I am Slade Ham. I am online for the next month. Find me, say hello, come see me in person. We're going to make all this work. I can't wait for you to be part of what I'm up to. I'll see you guys on another episode of the Slade Ham Experiment.